Iron Biby for the world record here at the Hydro in Glasgow. Show this man what you want, ladies and gentlemen. And he's
Welcome back, Strongman fans. As you just saw there, Iron Biby set a new world record in the log press, and also a quick screenshot of the photo of Kevin Fairs in USA setting a world record also in the Nicol Stone. So it was the World Tour Finals yesterday on the 19th of September 2021 in Glasgow. For the first time the Giants Live attended there, and we had the athletes as follows: Tom Stoltman, Adam Bishop, so British strongest man, obviously Tom being current world strongest man. Luke, obviously Tom's older brother, Europe's strongest man at present. Maxime from Canada, he was there. I can't pronounce his surname, I apologise. Evan Singleton from the USA, obviously he won the not the Europes but the competition before for Giants. Gavin Bilton, Wales strongest man and UK strongest man. The legend that is Mark Felix, the man that never seems to age. Gabriel Pena from Mexico and the USA, he was there as well. And also we had a mystery athlete who was going to be the winner for the Scotland Strongest Man, and he actually happened to be Andy Black. So Andy now is a two-time Scotland Strongest Man, so he's defending champion. He obviously got an official invite to this competition as a result, and it seems fitting because obviously he is a Scottish man himself. So we had 3 Scots performing in Glasgow, which was great to see. And obviously, like I mentioned, it's the first time they've actually had an event in Glasgow. Also had Kevin Fairs, like I mentioned, who set their world record at the Nicol Stone, heat in the US. And also we had Trey, but he wasn't actually in attendance. I don't know why. He was meant to be there, but for some reason he wasn't. So anyway, the actual log press was a second attempt. Well, I say second, it was a second opportunity for Iron Biby to actually set the world record. Here's the list and the lineup for what happened on the night, the order of events. The special event was obviously first for Iron, so he actually came out on his own just to do that. And obviously Luke Stoltman had commented on social media that he was going to give up his title from the night at Europe's to allow Iron to do that because he was late to the competition because he had agreements in the family. His father passed away and unexpectedly, and he got to the UK late and actually arrived at the competition as it was finishing. So it's very sportsmanlike from Luke and also Graham Hicks, because they obviously were first and second for that event. They said, we're happy for you to take the title and give it another chance. And I'll be honest, Giants clearly wanted it to happen anyway. So he started like the others did. 180 was the opening lift on the log, followed by 207.5, which I haven't, I'm not going to show you that one. I'm just going to show you the 180 as the first lift, and then a couple of videos from different angles of him attempting the 229 and obviously getting it. However, there's been quite a lot of controversy as to whether he actually locks out on that left arm. And I'll be honest, if I was a ref, I wouldn't have given that either. To me, that's not a full lockout with full control. From the back here, I believe Eddie Hall filmed this. It looks better, but you can still kind of see how much that log's tilting. I wouldn't say that is a successful lift, despite the fact that Magnus van Magsen was assessing it, and obviously he made the call, and a lot of people said you can't really dispute that. Big C has commented, I believe, on social media saying he wouldn't have given that, not from a personal perspective, purely as a professional referee. He said, the Luke Stoltman 230 attempt was actually a lot better. Obviously, Luke did that for World's Ultimate Strongman just over a year or so ago on the Feats of Strength series. But nonetheless, as it stands, Iron does have the new world record, whether you agree with it or not. So congratulations, Iron, and let me know what you think in the comment section below about that attempt, guys. So obviously for the first event, which was the Nicol Stones, this is not a very common event. It was made in Scotland by someone called Nicol, I believe that's his surname. And essentially what they have to do here, they have to lift 2 stones, which are uneven in weight. I believe one was about 140 kilos, the other about 113 or so, something like that. So about a 20 odd kilo difference in weights. And obviously very, very difficult to hold. It's kind of like a farmer's carry. But obviously these are stones with rings, so the surface area for the grip is very different. It's a lot more challenging on fingers and the palms. They can't use straps, obviously. It's just raw strength, chalk, and that's it. And Kevin bearing in mind it's the first time apparently he's ever done this event, he actually set a new world record and he actually won this event. And Kevin is the lightest and the smallest of all the athletes. He's only about 6'2", I believe, 120 or 28 or 29 kilos. So he's big, but he's certainly not super heavyweight in comparison to the rest of the chaps who are all 150, 160 plus and 6'4" plus basically. So fair play to him, and it was really impressive to see. It just goes to show what sort of athlete he is, and he did really well. He did really well in the World's Strongest Man, and I think he's definitely an up and coming athlete who's gonna scare and rattle a few cages in the future, kind of like Novikov did, in the early days, about a year or two ago when he was coming through the ranks. He was smaller and faster, more athletic, and that definitely helped with moving events and whatnot. But I mean, like he actually beats Andy Black's record. Andy Black had the current record, which was 20 odd meters, and Kevin actually beats it. So it's really impressive to see, and just goes to show that he was there to prove himself, and he certainly did. Here's just the little bit at the end, towards the end with Andy. I'm just showing you Andy and Kevin because they were the top scorers. Andy didn't manage to beat Kevin, and he didn't manage to beat his original record, but he did come very close. So he still got over it. You can see there at the top left that Kevin actually got 22.2, and I believe that Andy got just over 20 odd meters, I think maybe 21. But nonetheless, he got max points as well as Kevin. So well done, Andy. And to be honest with you, I wasn't surprised because you already had the previous world record. So after the event one, you can see here that Kevin and Andy at the top, and Evan actually did really well, and he came third. So well done, chaps. So the second event was the log press for reps. And this was an event that we all know that Luke Stoltman would easily win, which he did. Well, he actually tied with Tom, surprisingly. So I'm showing you Tom and Maxime because, like I mentioned, Tom ties with Luke for 9 reps, and Maxime also does really well also. He gets 8 reps. So Maxime's definitely a good log presser, and I'll be honest, Tom has really improved as well because, before World's Strongest Man, I was watching some of his videos. He was talking about how he needs to improve on his log and his general pressing power, and he definitely showed signs of improvement here. Each press is very smooth, very controlled. He looks very strong. Just to mention about the weight on the logs, they were 150 kilos, and they were obviously doing AMRAP within a 75-second period. So usually it's 60 seconds, but they gave him a little bit longer to try and see if anyone could beat, set a new world record, which I believe is 9 or 10. So obviously Tom smashed it here. He gets 9. We're going on to Luke shortly after, but you can see here, really good from both athletes, impressive head-to-head, and I was really pleased to see how well that Tom did because, he obviously missed the last competition, and, he's still World's Strongest Man, so he naturally wants to prove himself that he's still a dominant athlete, and he certainly didn't let up, and I think being on home soil in Scotland definitely was an advantage to him and Luke on the night. And good to see him back in action and the swing of things. And obviously not suffering in events that he's not always been known to be the most powerful in. So next up, obviously, we had Luke, and he's going head-to-head here with Evan Singleton, who also did pretty well, to be fair. Now, as we know, Luke's probably one of the best log pressers in the world. I still do feel that Luke has every potential to set a new world record in the log, and I would hope that he would go head-to-head with Iron in future competitions, because obviously that's going to be his competition now. I don't think there's anyone out there who can really catch up with him and Iron Biby. And Luke does really well here. He gets 9. He does actually get 10 reps, but unfortunately he's out by 2 seconds. So he took just a little bit too long in those final few seconds to get that 10. There's a couple of boos and whatnot, and people, in the crowd not being happy that he didn't get it. But at the end of the day, you could see on the timer that it was over by 2 seconds. So he ultimately did do the 10, but it was in 77 seconds rather than 75. So irregardless, he's still tied with Tom, and got the max points from that event, which is obviously good for him. And just because he's a good log presser does not mean he's not going to make mistakes. And you'll see coming up in the Atlas Stones about mistakes, how it can cost you dearly for some athletes. Even if it's your best event, you can make mistakes because you can be overconfident, or just you know, just mess it up by accident. So yeah, so he did get the 10, but obviously they don't grant it. Well done to Luke and Evan, and obviously Tom and Maxime, and all the athletes who competed. Mark Felix didn't do too well. He actually didn't, I don't think he did any reps. Kevin Fairs is not known for this one, so he obviously got a low score as well. But obviously got good points for the first event. So you can see here, Kevin's still second as a result of that and tying with Luke after event 2. And obviously then we've got Tom and Evan in 3rd and 4th. So event 3, we had the axle deadlift. And in the top spot, you can see here, we've got Gabriel Pena and also Adam Bishop, surprising, well, not surprising for Adam, but Gabriel Pena, who is a good deadlifter, but I wasn't expecting him to do as well as he did. So the athletes had 60 seconds to complete as many reps as possible with 360 kilos on that bar. Now the current world record was set by Rauno Heinler and he holds it at 9 reps. So obviously for Gabriel and Adam, they do very well, but not quite good enough to match or beat that record, but well done to them too, obviously, for taking the top points there. Obviously, I'm showing you here the head-to-head he had with Andy Black, who doesn't do very well, to be honest, in this event. He is a good deadlifter, but I don't think he's got much experience on an axle. I could be wrong, but he certainly doesn't perform particularly well in this event. But, you know, like I said earlier in the video, he has only been competing professionally for 2 years, and in terms of being on the circuit with people who are involved in giants, you know, a lot of them are world's strongest man finalists and have won or have come very well. So he really is against the best. So, and he's still learning, just like Gavin Bilton. It's the same. But Gabriel, well done, mate. Really, really good. You are definitely showing that you're a force to be reckoned with, and you can win events. And you smashed this event. You know, certainly did. And I think we're going to see a lot more from you in the future. So next up, we've obviously got Kevin Fairs going against Adam Bishop, and like I mentioned, Adam also got a great score and did really well overall. Unfortunately for Kevin, it was another event he didn't do very well on, only managing to do 2 reps, so obviously disappointing for him. Definitely needs to be working on his deadlift, well, at least his axle lift, to try and get points, because he has still had high points at this point based on obviously the Nicol Stone run by winning that. But sadly, like we all know, diehard fans, certain events suit certain athletes, and on the day, depending on what's given to you, you can either do really well or do absolutely terribly based on your strengths and weaknesses. And unfortunately for Kevin on this one, it wasn't his day, so he lost some vital points, but well done to Adam taking that. So after event 3, you can see Tom, Luke and Evan, the podium finishers, are all in the lead, but not by much. Luke and Evan tying at 21.5. So the car walk, Evan actually won this, followed by Tom and Luke. So it's quite obvious at this point that the top 3 are going on to probably win it. One of them is going to win it. Showing you here, Mark and Maxime. And the reason I'm showing Mark is because Mark actually came 4th. So despite the fact he's 55, he's still beating people 20 odd years younger than him. His experience shining through clearly, and showing that he's not completely out. Because unfortunately for him, because Gavin had to pull out, haven't mentioned yet, Gavin actually pulled out because he wasn't feeling very well. He had to compete twice on his own. So obviously in the axle lift, and also for the, I think for the Stones, he had to go alone as well. So a little bit unfair, you know, it's not really fair on the athletes to go on their own, but that's how it goes. Here, obviously, we've got Tom going against Evan Singleton, and the reason why I show you these two is because these two are the top winners, and Evan has a really respectable time. You know, not quite the world record, but it's proper fast, so well done to him. And obviously you can see he's pretty happy with himself, and actually taunts Tom a little bit. You know, a bit of banter, a bit of rivalry. At the end of the day, they can't be friends 24/7. So yeah, that's funny to see. But obviously Tom is none the wiser. He's not even interested. He's just trying to get out of the car. So after event 4, you can see the scores here. Tom's at the point, only by 1 point though, and Luke obviously nipping at the heels of Evan as well. But Kevin, surprisingly, at top placing in the 4th spot. So last we had Castle Stones, and Maxime, Andy and Luke took the 1st to 3rd spots. And the reason being is because Tom and Evan, which you'll see after this segment with Maxime and Gabrielle, completely messed it up. It's unlike anything anyone's ever seen before. But really good fast times here from these two chaps. Maxime takes the win with a really good time, sub 20 seconds, and everyone was trying to get under 20 seconds because they knew they needed to do it to get max points. And Luke was saying about Tom before he went on, I know he's going to do under 15 seconds, and you know, we all thought he would as well because he's the king of the Stones. However, as you'll see here, the pair of them, Evan and Tom, are absolutely rapid. Tom obviously smashing it, one motion, no problem at all. But when we get to that fourth stone, somehow they both drop it, and like a domino effect, the stones actually knock the fifth one away. So they lose valuable time. They've got no help from anyone. They have to move it back themselves, reset. And as a result, Tom got a really shit time and so did Evan. And as a result, that affected the podium finish. You know, it's as simple as that. It doesn't happen ever, but it did happen. And there we go. They're the final results. Because of that mistake, Tom lost by 1 point. Evan was a few points behind, so he wasn't as close. But Luke and Tom, by 1 point only. Madness. So obviously Tom was gutted, but I'm pretty sure because of his brother, he even said, I'll accept it, I'll allow it for this time. So here's Iron, obviously accepting his trophy from Luke. Luke gave it to him, which was nice, you know, and he was obviously very happy that he was able to give him the opportunity again, just like he did on the axle press at the Strongman Classic. And he's got his title, he's got his trophy, and he's in the record books. I don't think it's going to be disputed. It is what it is. Giants, when they give out those records, it's finite. So like, it's not going to be changed. And here we got obviously Luke accepting his second trophy in the last 2 weeks. So congratulations to Luke. 2 trophies, 2 weeks, you know, and you're getting your second trophy on home soil in Scotland with your brother. You know, your brother's being second. Strongest brothers in the world, you know, you've got to be very happy. Evan, obviously, you could tell he's gutted. He wanted to win another one, but he's still on the podium, and he definitely deserved to be on there. But I think it's very unfortunate for him, just like Tom, how it went. Sadly, on the Castle Stones, what a shit way to lose points, but it is what it is. So congratulations to those three. And all the athletes took part. It was an interesting night, entertaining. The Nicol Stones is an interesting event. I personally, I can't see it happening again in a non-Scottish competition. It does take a lot of time, obviously, because only the athletes go one at a time. But it was still good to see something different because they do kind of repeat a lot of the events. So it's nice to see things anyway. But anyway, guys, as always, if you liked today's video, please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you all soon. Amigo and Finis, signing out.